I want to bring in our guest at this time, Scott Schwartz. You may know him as an actor from The Christmas Story who played Flick, the little boy who stuck his tongue to the pole. Welcome to the podcast, Scott Schwartz. How are you doing, Scott?
Hey, guys.
Hey,
I'm good.
Scott.
I'm having one of those hair days.
I know the feeling.
It
looks nice.
It just wants to make me look like a crazy guy over here.
It's got good volume to it.
Away from me. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah.
You got a nice backdrop there, Scott.
No, it's all nice.
Beautiful. Yeah.
You know, it's actually why I bought this house, really, was that the walls kind of reminded me of Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Just the green shrubbery, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Really nice. Still
So how is everybody doing tonight?
Oh, not bad. And you?
I'm hanging in there, man. It's another week of, quiet and silence and insanity and stupidity. But besides that, it's great.
Sounds like
Yes, sir.
most of the year.
Have you been using all of this kind of internal time to work on projects, or are you like me where you're just like the idea, you're just putting them aside and being like, well, I'll get to that. This could go on for a little bit longer.
No, actually, I had a producer contact me from back east, and they were a fan, and we started chit-chatting, and she's like, well, if there's something, you want to work on, let me know. And I had something that I was kind of working on with another former child actor that we've been just talking about whatever. And finally it was like, all right, well, let's share it with somebody and let's get their feelings on it. And it's myself and Todd Bridges from Different Strokes.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And
Did he kill someone?
no.
Oh.
Yeah. But they love the concept. They love the idea. So, we've got a writer and producer and director, and we're kind of preemptively working on this thing. And they're in Pennsylvania where this COVID is not so bad. So they don't have, mask recommendations, and you can go out and you can shoot and you can do things and it's safe.
We don't. When you talk about projects like that, you're talking about working with a producer. When you look at the landscape of media now and how we have all these YouTube platforms and where people can, create their own projects and put them up. How do you, growing up in the business and at times when maybe parts and offers got lean, how do you think you would have dealt with this? Do you think you would have jumped and started doing your own projects on these type of platforms if they were available then? What do you think about this kind of new landscape in there?
It's a good question, and I don't really know.
Yeah.
I've always been creative in coming up with ideas and concepts. I'm not really a script writer, So while I came up with the concept for the show and ideas for different episodes and all that, I don't really write the guts of it. So for me to say, well, yeah, I would have jumped on YouTube and just done all these things, I don't know that I would have, because that's not really what I do. I don't do it from A to Z. I'm more of like the A through like E, F, or G, and then I let somebody else take it the rest of the way.
Yeah, the idea, man.
I'm a good idea person. Yeah. I can shoot all these ideas, but I just can't make it into something. Like, like when we plan stuff here, I'll shoot all these ideas at Matt, and Matt has to like take these oddball, crazy ideas that I have and help like mash them together to turn them into something. I think this, and I'm just, I might as well be sending him like cocktail napkins of shit that I've written while I was in the bar, like I think this.
Well, yeah, no, it's writing different, like in my case, I'm saying, concepts are good. Stories for episodes are good, but it's the actual dialogue, I can come up with scenes and concepts, kind of like what Larry David does, with Curb Your Enthusiasm. He comes up with an approximate scene. He kind of comes up with the plot of it, and then lets everybody else just kind of run with it, and he runs with them.
Do you think it's hard to break into the industry if you don't have some sort of craftsman Like now you've been in it long enough and you have a reputation, you can be the idea person. But do you think someone who's trying to break into industry, do you think they have to have some sort of craftsman like editing or acting or some sort of the ability to produce something before you can be the idea guy?
In my case, yes. I guess, kind of answer your question. Not everybody has experience or decades behind them. If you're new, you end up, if you want to do stuff right away and not become a waiter, a waitress, a bartender, whatever, you end up starving, because it's like, you're either a YouTube personality, so to speak, or a social media personality, or you're actually, in real show business. And I even use that terminology loosely now with reality, with reality television, because, somebody actually said to me, well, you're almost as famous as Snooki.
Ouch.
And I'm like, are you kidding? And it's no dig on Snooki, not that I was a Jersey Shore fan. I never watched one episode, but it's like, if you walk into an audition and you book the audition because you are the biggest moron in the room, this is not exactly something to hang your hat on, other than you're the biggest idiot in the room. And when you do stuff that has no retaining value at all, I mean, zero, you don't know if you're watching episode 6 or episode 27 from the 3rd season. It wouldn't make any difference. It's just people being idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's no execution there. Nothing's being executed.
It's selling garbage. It's selling garbage. And the fact that this is where we are, it's because there's 800 stations and they've got to shoot cheaper material for non-networks, So this is what they decided to put on television, cheap reality crap.
I think Natural Born Killers said it best. It's just junk food for the brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fact that people look up to these people is beyond me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I teach high school and teach 6th graders, and they don't watch network TV. They don't really watch films. They watch YouTube. Like they follow YouTube. That's it. If you mention like even a current show that's in their age group, they're the demographic for, if it's on television, there's a good chance they don't know. If it's on the movies, unless it's a big Marvel movie, they haven't seen it. But their feed is they're just constantly watching YouTube.
Wow.
That's partially their age group, partially. Then there's the disconnect of their parents, who should know better and who should have subjected them to watching some good television, some good films from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it is, to give them kind of an overall better, rounding off of their education entertainment wise. But if all they're watching is YouTube and Hulu and, they're not watching scripted shows or whatever that those, people make, it's just garbage. Watching a kid review, a camera or a toy or something. That's what some of these people watch. Now, some watch it because they have kids and they want to see if the toy is fun. But other people, they just watch it because whatever. The TikTok people and all that, they're not celebrities. They're not, in the word. They're just media whores, basically, is really what they are.
It's the culture now. I guess is the way that things have kind of transitioned. Because even then, you're right. The popularity, the livelihood of being characters or caricatures is there. And yet people who will tune into that and follow blindly no matter what they do. I mean, I fall into the trap of watching people I am willingly going to put a thumbs down to just because. And it's like, wow, I'm feeding right through this like culture of that.
But it's a mindset. And really, if you have a 8 to 12-year-old kid or 6 to 15-year-old kid, you're supposed to show them what to watch, tell them what to watch, because you want them to have something in their brain, not emptiness from Survivor or Big Brother or what other reality crap thing
Naked
or
and Afraid.
YouTube or whatever. That fills the mind with garbage. You know, I mean, I've been asked to do, several different reality things. I think I've done one. I know I've done one. I'm trying to think I did a second one or not. I know
Which
I
one
did
did you
one.
do?
I did Beverly Hills Pawn.
Okay.
Because at the time I was working with my dad in a store and he had a John Wayne piece and they heard about it and they wanted me to come on the show.
Boom.
So I did it basically as publicity for the shop, not for me at all.
Yeah.
But if they said, oh, we're going to do a celebrity, whatever, my first question would be, who else is going to be in it? And my second question is am I going to be able to pay my mortgage and rent, or are they going to offer me $1,200 a week? And I would tell them go scratch. So I might do it, I might not do it, but I know what I'm getting myself into, and I understand it well enough to know that, I've put down 43 years of work on film and on television already, so I'm not selling out to become reality boy. I'm looking at it from, I'm putting food on my table, a roof over my head. You
do what needs to be done, regardless if that's what you decide to go the route.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
but like 98% chance I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It would have to be really something with people that I know, that I love, that I care about. So I would be doing something with a group of friends. We did a thing called the Quarantine Bunch. That was online, and there was 9 of us. 7 of the people I knew, I was friends with, but it was all about the quarantine thing with COVID, and we're all stuck at home, and we're all talking about doing something. So it was just an evening worth of sitting at home on my Zoom meeting and talking to my friends. I can deal with that.
You said 43 years. What was it like when you first started, and how has that landscape changed for you as in the whole industry?
I started in 77. I started in March of 77. So they're really, we had child stars, but I started in commercials for a couple of years, and then I did off Broadway and then Broadway. And then in 82, I started doing films. The money amount has certainly gone up, for shows and for films, if you're one of the main cast members, which means residuals have gone up and all that. But it's also the amount of people that want to do it. I've been asked many times, what would you say to somebody starting out? I'd say, get an education and understand you're going to have a job besides just being an actor. Because as an actor, 8.75 of the people are out of work.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you better learn how to be able to wait tables or bartend or something else that you can do at night, because you can't work during the day. If you get yourself a good education and you're doing it, you're going to be a legal secretary. What are you going to tell your boss at 1:30? Excuse me, I need to go on this audition for a commercial. You're done. They're not going to go for that.
Well, I think like Zach Braff from Scrubs was telling the story when he actually got the final audition, and they said okay, and he got that call and said okay, you're going to be in Scrubs. He called up and he was like, hey, because he was waiting tables, and he called up and said, hey, I quit. And they're like, no, you're scheduled tonight. He had just gotten into this big show that was going to start, and he still had to go. He still had to drive in and go to work, waiting tables.
Good for him.
See,
but well, of course he quit. But here's the thing: when you get that show or you get that film, you're only guaranteed a certain amount of work. If Scrubs didn't work and it goes one season and you're done, then you go back to the job you had before. You do a film, you work 3-4 months if you're a main character, okay, fine, and that's it. And you go back to whatever you were doing until the next phone call comes. If you get lucky and you hit it and you hit the right show and you go on for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years, then you're all done. Realistically, if you're on a series for 12 years as a main character of any kind, you should not have to work the rest of your life. If you piss it away, that's your fault. You're just a stupid fool.
Well, you had an interesting training there because you were doing both theater and commercials. So you get that intense acting experience with theater, and then you learn how to work in front of a camera with commercials. Was one of those did you find that one of those was more helpful in moving into your movie career than the other, or did you think the amalgamation of both of them was just like a great cocktail?
I wouldn't say like the theater part of it, doing off-Broadway and Broadway really helped to do films. Doing commercials, you know, I don't think there was really a time when I was not comfortable in front of a camera. It was never a big deal to me. You know, it was just kind of the beginnings of just learning, you know, what a mark was, what action means, knowing your dialogue and doing those kinds of things. And that's commercial wise, it's great because you say something for 3 seconds and somebody else says something for 3 seconds and somebody else, and then you chirp in, ha, ha, ha. And that's the whole commercial.
Yeah.
Film is a much different duck altogether, you know, because the crews are so much bigger and the importance of what's going on is so much bigger. And, you know, you're not playing in the minor leagues anymore.
Was there something in particular that you remember back and I got all this stuff down really quick, but this thing took me a while to get used to, as far as being on a set or delivering lines or being in front of the camera? Did you struggle with anything in particular, like hitting a mark or?
No, but the first day on the toy, it's for my first film, and I'm working. My first day was the scene in the toy with Jackie Gleason, where we're in the Rolls Royce, and he's taking me back to the military school. So it's almost toward the end of the film, and nobody could figure out to tell me in advance what ad-libbing was. I'm used to Broadway, off-Broadway commercials. The dialogue is the dialogue. You say what's there and you go to the next and you say what's there. And he didn't do that. So he threw me off. So basically the first day I worked for Columbia Pictures, they threw it in the toilet. It was a total waste. One of the 2 producers brought me back to the hotel, and we're sitting in this mock office, and he calls my father, and he's like, listen, your kid, first day, he bombed. Didn't know one of his lines, and we're going to give him one more day, and if he does it again, he's going home. And so I talked to my father, and he kind of gave me a little bit of advice, you know, a little something. And somebody told Richard Pryor. And so that night, I'm sitting in the room after dinner, and I was crying and upset, and I had a day off. I had a day in the middle, and then I was going to be shooting again the day after. And Richard called me up and he said, Scotty, come to my room. I want to talk to you for a little bit. So I went to his room and we sat and we talked for a while. He goes, okay, stop. What did we just do? I said, we had a conversation. He says, no, we ad-libbed. You said something. I said something. You said something. He said, that's exactly what happened today. He said, Jackie Gleason doesn't read from the script. I don't read fully from the script. Whatever we say, just roll with it. And my father kind of gave me the same kind of advice. And I was like, okay. And the third day I was working with Richard, so it made it very easy. And it was, you know, I got done with that day, and the producer and the director, Dick Donner and Phil Feldman, one of the 2 producers, pulled me aside and they said, you're going to be just fine. You're not going anywhere. So relax. We're not firing you. You're not going home. Just keep doing what you did today. Okay. And, you know, by a week in, maybe let's say 10 days in of shooting, I was ad-libbing right along with them. So, you know, but Richard Pryor was the one who really gave me the total heads up on everything.
Wow, how many people could say that?
He was listen, from the day I met him till the day he was gone, he was my muse, my mentor, my best friend, one of my best friends. He was my teacher. He was my go-to for everything guy. He told me, you know, when we were getting ready to leave the set, go home, he's like, you have my phone number in Maui, you have my phone number in LA, you have the production phone number. You're going to have questions about life. Call me up. I'll give you any advice you want.
I can only imagine how amazing life advice from Richard Pryor would be.
Right?
Yeah. I've heard you talk about, you know, your experiences as a child on set and some of these adult mentors that you've had. Do you think that there's something innate in your personality that allows adults, because it seems like all of them treat you like an adult, and I don't think all adults do that with all kids. Do you think it's something innate with your personality that allows you to just kind of befriend these adults on their level, even at an early age?
Yes, but it started before all of this. I'm sure all of you, you know, had dads or moms or whatever, and you did stuff on the weekends, on a Saturday or Sunday. You went hunting, fishing, whatever it was, bike riding, whatever. My father was a movie guy, so he took me to a movie club in New York, but and other films all days on Saturdays. But the movie club, it was all adults. I was the only kid there. The lowest age guy that was there was probably 25 or 26, and I started going when I was 5.5 years old. So I was used to being around adults, you know. Then I even at a young age when I started doing commercials, I'm around adults. Every holiday from probably when I was 8, 9 years old, any holiday or time I was off school, I was with my dad. He was a window cleaner, and we would wash windows, and I'm around adults. Beside being around adults, I had this vast knowledge of Hollywood, movies, television. It was a passion. So when I got on the set with Pryor and Gleason, I didn't ask stupid questions. I wasn't a stupid kid. I knew who they were. I appreciated their work. I did impressions of them, whatever. They saw this. So, you know, I wanted to learn. So I asked questions. You know, Jackie Gleason, you know, people ask him this question. Now, I was more into, did you ever meet George M. Cohan? You know, who James Cagney is in Yankee Doodle Dandy. And he said, oh, yeah, you know, back in Brooklyn, and I'm hearing stories about George M. Cohan. I mean, you know, this is an icon of Broadway, you know, talking to Richard Pryor about the stuff that he did, you know, Silver Streak and Bingo Long, you know, different projects that he had done. So that kind of started it. You know, I was always very inquisitive, and I asked intelligent questions. So people gave me intelligent answers. I was never, oh, that's the kid. You know, I never treated them that way in being a stupid kid. And they didn't treat me like a stupid kid because that wasn't my personality. You know, I was definitely mature for my age. There's no question.
Did Richard Pryor give you any awesome pickup lines?
Listen,
guaranteed.
I don't know about pickup lines, but this was the best wingman anybody could ever have. Okay. So we're on the set day after day, and he's sitting next to me in his chair, and I'm sitting, and we talk, and he'd point out this woman, and he would tell me things that you can't tell a 13 and 14-year-old. You know, she did this to me and this and that. I'm going, okay, that sounds good. I didn't even know what he said half the time. I didn't even know what it was, but I'm like, it sounds good. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. You know, whatever. And right after my 14th birthday, he started sending girls to my trailer. He would go talk to the extras and say, hey, you want to go talk to Scotty? He's in that trailer right over there. Just go knock on his door. Go ahead, you know. So this led to, you know, make out sessions and all the stuff. And I'd be telling Richard, he'd be going, oh, that's good, man. That's good. Wow. But he never told me he did it. It wasn't until years later. I had gone over his house, and he's flipping the stations. And the movie The Last American Virgin came on. And literally, he's flipping the stations, but it came on. I said, oh, that's funny. I remember those days, you know, back when, you know, pre-puberty and all that. And had all those girls come into my thing, and he goes, what did you think? You were like this stud muffin? No, dude, I was sending them to your trailer. Best wingman you could ever have in the world.
Heck yeah.
Wingman, and you didn't even know he was wingman in it.
It didn't have a clue until much, much later.
That's awesome.
That is sweet.
I love that.
You know. Oh, he was just a piece of work. I mean, I just watched that show on HBO, the Hollywood Kids thing. And the stories, you know, they're all kind of different, you know, but the one thing that was missing, you know, from me, because I was in the industry, part of the industry as a child actor, not one of them said that anybody took them under their wing. They didn't have that mentor guy. You know, I had Richard, you know, and when I was doing, you know, a Christmas Story, I didn't have any mentors because I was there all 6 weeks and I worked 1 day a week. But like Kidco, Charlie Hallahan, who was the father, not a household name by any means, but for science fiction fans, the movie The Thing with Kurt Russell. He's the guy on the table whose chest blows up and his head comes off and grows the legs and runs away. He's my dad in Kidco. And he was a good actor. And I went to him and I said, listen, I'm getting stuck on this scene. Can you help me? I said, absolutely. Let's go. You know, it wasn't, oh, kid, you got a problem. That's it. No. Let's do it. Let's go. So I was fortunate enough that I had mentors along the way. you know, but Richard by far was my biggest mentor because he was my go-to guy. You got crazy questions and crazy situations, call Richard.
Been there, done that 7 times, huh?
That's it.
You know, I mean, there's one incident that happened. It happened one time in my life, and I was really upset about it. It wasn't, nobody took advantage of me, nothing like that. It was just something that I did, and I was really upset about it. And I called Richard, and I explained the situation. And he says, you got to come over to my house. Come on over. I want to talk to you about this. I said, okay. And I went over his house. I go in and we sat down in the living room. And he says to me, now explain what happened again. I said, Richard, and I was only 19 at the time. I said, Richard, everybody was like over drinking. And these 5 girls were getting in the bed naked and they wanted me to drink with them, but I don't really drink. So I took I had, you know, I did what they did, whatever. And then I had fun. And he goes, so you had fun with 5 women? And I, yeah. And he goes, well, what the hell are you telling me this for? I'm giving you a rent. He goes, yeah, all right.
Right?
What are you upset about? I said, it's just me. He's like, oh, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like he was a really good kind of, as far as like what is masculinity and how to approach these situations, and that, it sounds like that was there was kind of that career advice, but it's also just kind of like how to be a guy, you know, just like by not telling you, but just by observing him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the beneficiary really of him burning himself up, because he was not a good guy back then, you know, the drug addict and the craziness and all this stuff. And he buried that guy. He killed that guy. And now he wanted to be more thoughtful, more kind, you know, more, I don't want to say human, but just more of a caring person. And my personality stepped up to the plate and we hit it off. And, you know, he told me I was the white son he never had.
Yeah, I got a question for you to switch gears here a little bit. I know you worked with, back then it was the WWF corporation, correct? And you worked there, I believe, in like the kind of latter part of the 80s, mid to late 80s.
I was there September of 85 through January of 87. I did 15 months.
Yeah.
Now, I was never an official employee. I never got a paycheck. It all happened by accident. And then I was going all over the place several times every week.
Yeah. Well, that was such a big bonding between me and my dad, those 80s stars in that time. You know, being around all those people, when you think about their lives, I always thought, like, do you have a particular wrestler in that era that you think's life would make an awesome biopic, as far as the drama, the conflict involved in it? Because you were around so many of these guys and gals in there.
I mean, Piper was great, but I don't know if he had drama and conflict. It would probably have to be Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth, you know, because I mean, I was very good friends with them. Okay. And again, it's my personality and they were fans. That always helped. And that's just kind of the way of life. That's just what it is. So, I mean, you know, Randy would call me up at home the day before he was flying wherever. He'd be like, Scotty, what's going on? It's Randy. What's going on, Randy? You coming tomorrow, Richmond? Yeah, I picked me up 3 o'clock United. And that's what I would do, you know? So I would talk to him. I would talk to Liz. I would say hello and get a hug and a kiss on a cheek and whatever. And the other guys would tell me, dude, you can't talk to Liz. If you talk to Liz, Randy's going to get pissed. He's going to put your head through a wall. I'm like, listen, we don't have that relationship. They're like, okay, take your chances, man. You know, but, and he was very overly protective of her, you know, with pretty much everybody. And, you know, I mean, unfortunately they're both, you know, gone at this point. You know, Liz is long gone and Randy's gone 6-7 years now. But, I had one of those conversations you don't ever think is coming, you know. Randy was put into the WWE Hall of Fame. I was there. I helped Lanny Poffo with some of his speech, you know, Randy's brother. And afterwards, we went to dinner, and he said to me, he goes, I guess I should have told you this a long time ago. but you have no idea how much my brother really loved you and really cared about you. I said, we were friends. He goes, it's not about being friends. He goes, pretty much there were 3 people in the entire company he trusted. Vince McMahon, me, and you. And I started thinking about what he was saying. He's like, did Randy ever leave Liz alone with you? And I said, well, sure, several times. He goes, wouldn't have happened with anybody else. Not a chance. You know, so he's telling me exactly what Randy was like, you know, and all of that. You know?
How long did it take you to get over the kayfabe thing before they took down their guard with you? Since you weren't an official employee, did it take them a while to warm up?
No, it was how I got in that really blew that whole thing for me entirety.
Okay.
I went in for an audition on a movie called The Money Pit, Tom Hanks and Shelley Long.
Yeah.
Love that.
As going to be one of their kids. I walked into the waiting room, and Big John Studd was sitting across. He was auditioning for one of the movers. And it scared the shit out of me, excuse my French, but it did, because it was Big John Studd. And I went in and started to back up, and my father's standing behind me. He goes, what are you doing? I'm like, Dad, that's Big John Studd. He fights Andre the Giant. He's a bad guy. He hurts people. My father's like, would you shut up? So he sat me down. My time was right before John, so I went in first. When I went in, my father went and talked to John. I come out of the room. My father's sitting next to John. He goes, Scotty, come here. John, this is Scotty. Scotty, this is John. And John Studd looks at me. This big smile comes over his face. He goes, man, I saw the toy. You were great, man. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So that bad guy heel thing went out the window.
Yeah.
You know? And then I went to my first going out was Saturday Night Main Event when Uncle Elmer got married. It was at the Meadowlands. And they brought me in the back. And there's everybody. And you're meeting this one, you're meeting this one, you're meeting that. And I mean, by then it's like, you know, you kind of realize, you know, it's TV, it's entertainment. It's not real, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I'm standing there and I'm talking to Tony Atlas, Greg Valentine, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and Randy Savage. And then Hulk Hogan comes over, and then, you know, Piper comes over, and then, you know, you got, okay, fine. And you go to the next event, and then it's 3 other guys. Terry Funk is here, and they're all in the same room. And I'm going, you know, they're about to go at it for like 25 minutes, you know, but it is what it is, you know. I had a blast with those guys. I mean, they were a great bunch of fun, cool guys, you know, and many of them are gone now. And you know, Roddy Piper was, again, like almost like a second dad. We talked every month, 6 weeks at the most. If he was coming to LA, he'd call me. You know, it was just my mom's birthday 10 days ago, and somebody asked me about Piper and whatever, and it was like my mom's 70th birthday. They were having a thing out here in LA called the Hollywood Show. And there's a lot of celebrities there and people like that. And Piper was there. And we were talking, and I said, I got to go out. I got to go grab my mom's cake. It's her birthday. And he goes, well, bring it over here. Well, I'll sing happy birthday to your mom. And my mom was a wrestling junkie and loved Piper anyway. So I brought the cake over, whatever, and I grabbed my mom. I bring her over. She's like, what's going on? And Roddy comes out from behind the table, and he gives her a hug and a kiss on the cheek. He says, Mom, it's that time. And he started singing happy birthday to my mom.
Wow.
You know, and Roddy's gone, and I miss him.
To have a birthday serenade from Roddy Piper, that's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, my mom loved it, you know, and she got to meet Jimmy Snuka and Morocco and Albano. And my mom was a wrestling fanatic since she was 8 years old because my grandfather watched it. So my mom watched it, you know. She's met Hulk Hogan, and just it's great to be able to do that for mom, you know.
Right.
Have you had any opportunities since then to do anything with the WWE?
No. You know, I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like, it's one of those things where when people see you quite a bit, you become ordinary. Even though this other Scott is the actor and famous and all that kind of stuff, it took that part of me out. So they only think of me one way, you know, as their friend. You know, oh, we know Scotty, okay. But I'm like, hey, I want to do stuff, you know. And I mean, I told a couple of the creative guys that I had met there, you know, throw me in something, for God's sakes. I could do a manager bit. Let me get thrown in a ring. Let me get thrown out of the ring. I don't care. Just something funny. You could put me on a Christmas show because that'd be great, you know? And they said, oh, you're funny.
Yeah, I mean, they let Pete Rose come out. Why not Scotty Schwartz, right?
Pete Rose. Of course. You know, I would have done a Christmas thing with them. It would have been fun, you know? I mean, Vince was always really kind and great to me, and Stephanie was always kind, and Hunter's been great. You know, a lot of guys that are behind the scenes I know, and, you know, I've always gotten Pat Patterson, Tony Garea, Tony Chimmel, who was a ring announcer, and now he works in the back for them. These are guys I know for 3 decades, but I'm their friend. So, you know, the guys, especially in creative and other ones, I'm just whoever. Yeah, we know him. Okay.
You were in such good graces. There's nobody in the back dying to give you a finisher move in the middle of the ring, huh?
Exactly. I mean, I got in the ring a couple times, you know, with the guys beforehand. We finished doing the ring or whatever. You know, Lanny Poffo would come in and, you know, gave me the super back body drop off the top rope once, you know, which was fun, you know. But, you know, I actually got a chance after all these years, you know, of being a fan and a friend. I was down in Memphis with Jerry Lawler, who's a great friend. Love the man. He says, hey, I'm doing a gig tonight in Mississippi. You got to come with me. So we jumped in the car and we drove down to Mississippi, and we're doing this gig, and I meet the promoter, and he goes, oh my God, dude, you got to do something. And he put me in a gimmick bit. And so we like mind melded for like a half an hour, and I became Andy Kaufman that night.
Yeah.
I'm antagonizing whatever. And this guy, Stan Sierra, who's down there in that area, he goes, oh, man, I could throw you against the corner, and then I'll give you a splash and do this. And I'm like, this is great. I love this, you know? So we did the Kaufman bit where they ended up taking me out of the ring on a stretcher, and I've got the neck brace, and I'm giving the thumbs up and whatever. And then 9 months later, I came back, and I'm still in the neck brace. So I'm really pushing the Kaufman, you know, I'm hurt and whatever. And everybody ended up getting in the ring. And then the guy Stan, who splashed me, he ends up on the ground, and I'm standing over him, and I'm giving him the, you know, pointing the finger and doing the spiel. And I ripped off my shirt, and I had a Macho Man shirt on. And I went up to the corner and did the flying elbow.
Oh, nice.
At 50 years old, I did the flying elbow.
Oh.
And Jerry thought I was nuts. The promoter's like, dude, you have to sign a waiver, because if you get hurt, it's on you. The guy that I landed on, the guy that, you know, Stan, he's like, have you done this before? I said, well, I actually practiced a bunch of times, you know, whatever. He goes, sure, go ahead. Okay, fine. Some of the other people were like, well, I did it, nailed it, no problem. Everybody was happy, and it was great.
Please tell me you hit him with an oh yeah before you jumped and dropped the elbow.
I probably did. I don't remember. I just remember that I probably should have lost another 10 pounds before I did it, because the left leg did not want to come up to the top corner, to the turnbuckle. It just didn't want to get there. It was probably this much short. So when I dropped those 10 pounds, it would have been easier. But once I got up there, the arms went up in the air, and I flew.
And the rest was history.
That's kind of surprising that, especially, I mean, being a huge wrestling fan myself, and the way WWE is, that they haven't tried to get you in some kind of gimmick match, like you said, involving Christmas, or your tongue being stuck to a ring pole, or something along those lines, or like a mistletoe on a pole match and you somehow end up with your tongue stuck to it, or anything like that. Like that blows my mind. That seems like right up Vince's alley.
Oh, I was going to be in Chicago, and they were in Minneapolis for the Ho Ho Hogan Christmas show. This was like 2014, I think. And I talked to Lawler a couple weeks before. He's like, dude, you're in Chicago. Forget the trip home. Just come to Minneapolis for Monday Night Raw. It's a Christmas show. I said, okay, fine. So I changed my flight. All right. So I showed up. I'm hanging out in the back, whatever. And we're like 2/3 of the way through the show, and one of the security guys goes, hey, you got to go up and see Jerry. He wants to see you, like, right now. You have to go ringside. Okay. So I got up ringside, and Jerry hands me the shirt, Triple Dog Dare You shirt with the pole and all that. Then he's like, hey, we're going to come out of commercial. We're going to do a promo thing. They're going to come on me, and then they're going to be on you. You give the thumbs up. I'm introducing you, blah, blah, blah. So I actually, I ended up at the show, and they kind of just as a celebrity being there or whatever, but that was it. And of course, Vince has to okay that.
Mm.
You know, nothing happens on that show unless Vince says yes. And Jerry, well, he had the headset on, and Jerry's like, "Hey, do you know who's here, by the way, Scotty? Then we'll get him out there. Get him out there. Go ahead." So, you know, it was cool.
Damn, that's cool. So I got it. Go ahead, Travis.
No, please.
Any direction you want, go.
Yeah, I was going to talk about, you know, you're in this, you know, of course, the Christmas Story, which is so beloved. I mean, they run it 24 hours, and so you deal face to face
every
with
time it airs, right?
yeah, that's what we want.
Royalties,
We want to talk numbers.
We get paid twice, once per day. Has nothing to do with being a kid. None of that kind of stuff. That was the contract that was signed in like 1980, the cable contract. So when they show it 12 times, I actually make $1.60 for the 24-hour marathon.
Oh.
And I have no idea where to spend it.
I bet not. After about 10 years, you might be able to go get something.
Pizza, large pizza, what? You know?
I can't go wrong with those.
Filming that, did you think that was going to be the iconic movie that it is today?
No, it's a small movie. You know, there's no big stars, there's no big special effects. It was a labor of love, blackmail film. That's really what it was. Nobody wanted to make it, and Bob Clark, the director, had done Porky's. Yep. And it had made so much money that they wanted him to do Porky's too, and he goes, absolutely. But I can't shoot Porky's during the winter time. It's a spring-summer thing. So I'm going to do Christmas Story right in the middle. They're like, no. Prep for Porky's 2, and then no. I'll do Christmas Story while I'm shooting it. I'll edit it so that when it's done within 2 weeks, I'll be done totally, and then I'll go on to do Porky's 2. So it wasn't something that anybody thought would be anything more than just a nice little movie that MGM didn't even want to put in the movie theaters. They were just going to shelve it and put it on VHS. And Bob Clark and Darren McGavin started to put together some money to buy the movie so they could release it. Then finally MGM said, okay, we'll put the movie out in the theaters. Okay, shut up already. So, you know, and I mean, it's out for 3 or 4 weeks because the Christmas movies came in and took all the theaters. And it sits on video for, you know, the better part of 13 years. It just sits there on video. And then fate lent a hand, and Ted Turner was buying the MGM film library. Buys Christmas Story. And from what I understand, his secretary was the one who said, hey, why don't you do a marathon? And the rest is history.
Yeah, my question on this was, you know, we do these podcasts and videos because we're fans of things. And, you know, a lot of people are fans of the Christmas Story because it's something that grew up along with them, you know, on VHS. So when fans approach you, or when you get approached by fans, what do they typically want their experience? Do you have a sense of what they want from their experience with you? Is it they want you to tell them a story? Do they just want to shake your hand? When people come up to you, what is it that you think that how do those interactions typically go?
A lot of time it's, oh my God, you know, is your tongue okay? Did they really make you stick your tongue to a pole? You know, was it really that cold? Is it fun shooting a movie? You know, it's more or less the basic questions, you know. You get the I triple dog dare yous and all that kind of stuff from people, you know, and I guess there's just two ways of sort of approaching the situation. You know, one could be the, yeah, thanks, and, you know, whatever. And the other one is understanding that something I was a part of. I was a part of an ensemble of people that Bob Clark put together and created this masterpiece. And that generations after generation after generation is going to love and appreciate. So why not just go with it? Just enjoy the process. Enjoy, you know, what I did and what we did as a group. And just be happy and live life. And, you know,
Who ended up with the lamp?
The production designer, the guy that actually created it. There were 2 lamps made. One was broke on the set, of course, in the movie. And the second one he took home and he has it. And let's see, Peter has the bunny suit, or Ralphie, so to speak. Ralphie has the bunny suit. One of the snow suits was given to the kid who played Randy, the little brother. The snow suit, you know, he got that. Randy. You know, but we got nothing. I mean, you know, all of our wardrobe was rented. You know, so we gave everything back because it's all rented stuff. You know, none of that was, so there's no memory pieces from that. Now the toy was different because I had the military uniform, the motorcycle outfit. Those were made specifically for me. So I have one of the military uniforms and I have one of the motorcycle outfits, you know.
Do people mistake you for someone else sometimes? Do you get a typical like, oh, from no?
I get Donald O'Connor, who was an old movie star. You know, every once in a blue moon, Mickey Rooney. You know, every little bit, but I get more Donald O'Connor
because you still have that like boyish face, you know, in there, like a Mickey Rooney type of thing.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. I don't know about any of you guys, okay? But I had this face pre-puberty. Then I hit puberty, and from like 15 to about 19, my face changed. It sort of morphed into something else. It's like my high school picture, my high school graduation picture. I absolutely hate because it doesn't look like me. Yeah. And when I hit about 19, my face sort of morphed back into the face I had before. You know, okay. and trust me, being the age that I am, and you know, I don't look anywhere near my age, thank God, you know, which is great. You know,
that's funny.
My girlfriend likes it, so it's all good.
That's all that matters, right?
Right. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, she is a few days younger than me, to say the least. But believe it or not, not nearly a fan though. You know, her mom and her aunt are more the fans than she was, and then we just kind of struck up a conversation, and it just kind of happened.
There you go.
You know,
it would be a little bit odd, I think, you know, dating someone or being in a relationship with someone who was a huge fanatic of your work. I mean, that could work out, but I think there would always be a sort of uneven worshiping kind of thing in the relationship.
Okay, but anybody who's famous, when I say famous, I don't mean borderline. I mean famous. Mm-hmm. Anybody, you're going to meet and marry a fan. That's just what that is. Mm-hmm. Because you are who you are. You can't hide who you are. Now, I don't even consider myself on that level. I'm below that level. You know, I can go to a mall. Well, not right now, but go shopping, go to the movies, do whatever the hell I want. And once every week or two, somebody says something, you know, but otherwise I'm left alone, you know. But if you're Matt Damon or Tom Cruise, or whatever, you know, you are who you are. Mm-hmm. You know, people's going to be, you know, Nicolas Cage, when he married this last one, like, she's not a fan.
Right. Yeah, sure, you know,
you know, he's not married for 25 years. He's married for 25 minutes. It's like, dude, they're all fans.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way that Christian Slater was Christian Slater when he met his wife. He was already a star. You know, so it's like, you know, what are you going to tell me? She grew up in, you know, in igloos in Alaska or some shit, and, you know, doesn't have a television.
No, she knows who he is.
Of course. You know, but you have to leave that outside the front door. You know, again, this is some of Richard's kind of influence on me. You know, when you're outside, you're outside. You're that person. But when you walk in your home door, you're not that guy. You know, you're not the imaginary guy. You're the one that's in here. Mm-hmm. The one that's in your heart and in your head. And, you know, sometimes you can have situations, you know, people have egos, you know, which Richard told me was a waste of time. So I've never had one. But, you know, when you're getting your ass kissed everywhere you go, and then you walk in the door and your wife looks at you and says, honey, you do know you got to do the dishes tonight, right? You know, that's your wife now. That's not a production assistant.
You know who I am?
You know, that goes out the window.
Is that one of the hardest things to deal with in Hollywood? Is the ego of people? Is that really as poisonous, or is that just, or can that be a benefit sometimes to a production or a project?
There is no benefit of an ego.
Yeah,
there's none, because everybody's people. We're all humans. We're all people. You know, we have to be in a working environment. You know, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the star of the show or if you're the you know, sidekick, or you're the person who's a semi-regular, whatever. You got to treat everybody with dignity and respect. That's just how it should be.
over on the top of me, we've been talking to Corbin a lot about that. We've been talking to him a lot about his ego. He's always kind of coming in and trying to bully us out of conversation.
Hold on, I didn't even know the man's name because it's not in a little box. So I don't know Corbin. But dude, you're good. You're a good looking man.
Thank you, sir.
It's okay. That's okay. You can have a little bit of an ego. He's a damn good looking boy. It's okay. Mama didn't.
See, now you have permission to be.
There we go. I have some permission to push it up a little bit. All right.
I didn't say a big one. I said he can have a little one.
Oh,
It's okay.
You don't know what you just created now.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
We're hoping his face. We're hoping, like you, his face morphs into something different.
You know what? Where are you from, Damon? Where are you from?
I mean, of course, I'm from New York. I'm here in Arizona. I'm based in Arizona, but I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. You know who Ryan Howard is? Used to play for the Phillies.
I am familiar with the name. Yes.
That's who you look like.
Really? Oh,
That's who you look like.
I will take it. You know,
That's
okay.
who you look like.
I didn't mean to go in this direction, but since we're here already, dating. You have any tips?
Oh, his head's
Oh, here we go.
Meeting someone and kind of going from the hey, how you doing? I'm like the king of awkward interactions in general, but especially in the dating.
Dating tips.
Don't be shy.
Okay.
You see someone you have an interest in. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Da-da-da. Damon, nice to meet you. Whatever. I'm from Philly. I live out in California. I live in Arizona. Where are you from? Women are women. I mean, I understand we're in the Me Too movement, so sticking your hand down their pants now is not exactly the same thing as it was 30 years ago. That's not where you want to go.
Okay.
But be you. Be polite, kind, nice, whatever, and you just let things roll. And if they show some attention back, then you roll with it. If they go, oh no, that's okay, no problem, whatever.
Okay.
Rejection is everywhere.
I feel that part.
I mean,
Scott,
I'm a 5'2" Jewish kid. Okay, trust me, I know rejection.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Scott, on that note, have you been a person who can go like up in a grocery store and you see someone and been like, hey, I'd like your number, would you like to go out sometime? Or have you normally been introduced to people through friends and things like that?
Both ways.
Yeah.
Both ways. That's just been my life. I mean, again, when I was younger, I could say dating was much easier when I was 15 to 25, because you're a young guy and, the movies are a little more fresh and things happen and they recognize and whatever. And okay, that's good. When you get a little bit older, then it's just kind of a weird thing. You kind of go this person or that person, whatever, and, I was married, I'm divorced 15 years now, whatever. I met my ex-wife. She was with the same agent manager I was with, and we kind of met that way, and it just kind of happened,
Okay. Yeah, I'm more of the online dating, but I'm trying to get out of that.
I don't care what they say, the Me Too thing and all that. That's one thing.
Yeah.
They still want to have somebody hold their hand and give them a rose and open a door and be respectful. Yeah. You may or may not get a kiss goodnight the first time. That's just how that goes. But trust me, if they want it, they're going to let you know.
Gotcha. See, I appreciate it, Scott. Thank you for that. I need some
Anytime.
tips.
That's awesome.
But I mean, okay, so now we're all four guys. Okay, I don't know who's watching the show, whatever, but I'm sure none of you did what I did the first time that I had a interaction with a woman in life. Okay.
Okay.
Most people, and I can ask all four of you, who did you call? A best friend, your dad? Who did you call?
Best
come
friend.
on.
Best friend for sure.
Yeah,
Best
for
friend.
sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Guess what just happened?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I guess you could say I told my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, best friend. Yeah, okay. So I got home. It was a Friday night. I get home 11:30,
You called
and I said to myself, "Oh my God,
He called
Richard's in Hawaii. It's only 5:30 at night in Hawaii. I got to call Richard." So I get home and I call Richard on the phone, and he was the greatest because never once did he say to me, "Hey, listen, I don't have time." Never did that to me. So I called him up, and he's like, "Hello," because there's no caller ID back then or nothing, He's like, "Hello." I said, "Richard, Scott." He's like, "What's up, my man?" I said, "Dude, I had some fun with a lady tonight." No, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did. He says, okay, you got to tell me what happened. I got a 45-minute lesson from Richard Pryor right then and there.
That is pretty
Richard
sick.
told you to put your Richard told you to put your fingers up to the phone.
Oh no. Oh no. He was awesome. But it gave me the beginnings of an education of what to do with women.
Right.
Yeah. See, yeah.
No, I didn't have a clue. The first time, nobody knows what they're doing. We just kind of do it, and we just hope for the best, you know?
Yeah.
And then after I got done talking to Richard, forget that, man, you know?
You were a pro.
I wanted to go buy one of those bibs from Red Lobster, you know, and just say, hey, I'm here, okay?
I'm ready to go to Clamtown.
When the biscuits out. Oh, my God.
He was the best.
I feel you, though. Yeah, he was quite a character, for sure. For sure. That is cool, though. What a story. Wow.
Did he ever tell you, do this every time?
One of those.
I still do this, right? There's got to be that.
He said to me, listen, you know, after like the second or third or fourth or whatever, you know, he'd be like, is the woman happy? Is she satisfied? I said, well, I think so. He goes, thinking is not the right response. You have to know that you did your job, because if you do your job, she's going to be happy to do her job. You see, that's how it's got to work. You got to take care of the woman, and then you get taken care of. Okay, there you go.
Wow. Yeah, that's some tips. I'm marking that in my mental notes too.
But that's got to be after they say yes, okay? You know, you can't start that.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah. We'll take him step by step. It's all right, Damon. Don't worry. We'll help you out here, brother. It's okay. For some reason, I kind of don't think you really have much of a problem in this area, just looking at you, but I could be wrong.
I appreciate it, but no, I have many problems. And like that is a big, I think it's the talking part of it. Like, I don't know, or it's a series of unfortunate events. Like, okay, so for example, I did speed dating at a Comic-Con last.
There, right there. You nailed the problem.
What?
No, I want to hear this.
Speed dating at a Comic-Con. Issue closed.
Listen, online is weird, and in person I'm awkward as Sam. Like, I'm good with words, and then the stuff goes out. Anyway, I got a bunch of matches, fine, right? One person asked for a number during the event. Fine, we're good, we're talking, we're this and that. I had a hotel because I'm one of those people. It was in the area, but why not, right? So I bring up to the room. But I guess we had mixed signals because she thought I was going to bring her to the room. I left her outside because I was just coming to drop my books off in the room. So I dropped my books off in the room, and I said, okay, so what are we doing? And, like, her face kind of fell, and I realized I did something wrong, but I didn't know what else I did. So we kind of walked down to the lobby, and then she left me in, like, 30 minutes. And then, like, later that night, she texted me. She's like, oh, I thought we were going to, like, have some fun, this and that. And I'm like, oh, well, how was I supposed to know? And, like, let's just say we never connected again. We talked about it. I may have driven a couple hours out to meet her. She may have left me out there. It just didn't work out very well. But like that is emblematic of some of the struggles I'll have. And now let's think about this for a minute. Okay.
We're absolutely polite in what you did. You weren't thinking ahead that she was ready to rock and roll. You were being polite. You're like, let me just drop this off.
Yeah.
So realistically, her wanting to have some fun is one thing.
Okay.
But what you did, if she would have looked at it and gone, you know what? He was very respectful. That was very nice of him not to just think that way. You know, she should have gone down to the bar. You had a drink and then said, hey, you know, do you want to go back up to the room? I had a thought, you know.
Okay.
But you didn't know, and she didn't really play it that way. But okay, but in reality was you respected her as a woman and you did the right thing, even though the end doesn't turn up the way you wanted it to.
Okay.
You did the appropriate thing.
I think there's it's interesting line, especially like Corbin's obviously a good speaker and he can listen and he can ask questions and generally be engaged. I always think it's tough when you're kind of like that too, is how to mix in that flirtation, you know, enough flirtation where you can progress a situation in that direction, if that's where you're hoping it's going, without in 2020 getting yourself in hot water or just being crude in general, but being able to have stimulating conversation while still being flirtatious enough to push it in a more romantic direction.
Yeah,
it's a tough line to walk.
It is a tough line to walk. Just I'm sure you have a decent personality, so you just make jokes and you kind of whatever, and it's kind of wherever the conversation takes you. That's kind of what happens.
So how many?
I have a joke, and this is great for Damon. Okay, because we're the exact opposite. Okay.
Okay. I'm listening. I'm ready.
My last name, of course, is Schwartz. Okay, and I'm Jewish. Now, if you know the meanings of Schwartz in German or in Europe language, it's Schwartz. The equation is black. That's really Schwartz is black. That's what it means. That's the meaning of Schwartz. So I tell people, listen, I'm definitely Schwartz from the waist up, but I'm Jewish from the waist down.
Little Schwartz in the shorts.
So I can give that joke to Damon, and he can do it in reverse. I don't care if you're Jewish or not. Tell him you're Jewish, for God's sakes, and tell him, because you're Jewish from the waist up, but you're Schwartz from the waist down. It's perfect. It's Mel Brooks humor. Come on.
Yeah.
Now, if you tell a joke like that, and the girl goes, "Oh, that's nice, dude, you're barking up the wrong tree." If she starts laughing, you've got a fish on the hook.
There you go. Okay.
Make sure she goes to temple so she gets that joke.
Oh man, I mean, between that and yeah, okay. That joke is committed to memory now, though. I need.
My joke. Thank you.
You get the credit, of course.
Afterwards.
Afterwards, yeah. After I got that joke. Yeah, we were watching them. I popped them. I got advice from. This is going in my This is a record.
You and Scotty need to exchange numbers so he can be your Richard Pryor, so you can call in and tell him whether his joke worked or not.
Oh my goodness!
How many interviews have you done where you've actually given relationship advice?
This may be the second one all time, maybe. But listen, I'm comfortable in any conversation. I'm older than all you fuckers. I think I'm old enough to be most of your fathers, for God's sakes.
You definitely
we're pretty damn close.
Yeah.
I'm going to see Damon's probably late 20s, 26, 27.
Almost 25.
I can be your father. Go ahead. Give me somebody else's age.
35.
I'm 36.
36. No, I'd have to have been a really young father.
19 or so.
But I'm on that, I'd have to be a really young father. But,
right there.
It's age, years, and experience. That's all that it is. It's all good.
Hey, I'm appreciative. I'm telling you right now. Thank you. Oh man, now to find a celebrity for some kissing advice. Then I'll be set.
Kissing advice.
Yo,
just go on Pornhub and type out kissing, or go. There's places on the internet to get that, Corbin.
No, I bet you Richard Pryor gave some really good kissing advice.
No, not kissing advice.
I think there's some things that a man has to figure out for himself, and I think kissing might be one of those.
Well, you could do the Sam Kinison A, B, C, D. You can do the alphabet, but that's not going to help you with kissing there. You got to just kind of, you just kind of come up with your own style, man. Follow their lead. Just whatever seems natural, just go with it, man.
No, okay. That's it. I've been trying like maybe the last 2 days. I have zero chemistry on there, but I will continue to go at it. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a tongue.
Why is he laughing so hard? Damon, this poor bastard, is over here asking for sincere advice. He's falling off the chair.
I'm telling you, man.
It's funny to me.
It's a mess. And my issues are well reported here. That's why I'm grateful for the help, because these guys hear it. I told them in the chat about a recent bad experience this past week. I'm going through it. I need it. So shameless help here, but thank you.
It's all good.
Thank you, sir.
And like we were talking about, Scott talked about the idea that, the reason people connected with him is because he asked questions and asked for advice on things. So that's the first step into building a relationship.
There we go. That's true.
Well, communication is definitely the key. You've got to find somebody that you mind meld with, that thinks semi the same way you do, has similar beliefs than you do. Doesn't necessarily have to be the same religion, you know.
Yeah.
There, because you know, I've dated Jewish women, I've dated non-Jewish women. It's like, okay, you know, it's kind of one of those. All right, whatever, you know. And there's a lot of people, you know, Catholic, Christian, and not, you know, most people, because the numbers are Catholic or Christian, and I try and tell them they're all Jews. Because really, Jesus was Jewish. I don't care what color it is. And honestly, Damon, I really hope that they make Jesus a black man. Because the blacks love the Jews and the Jews love the blacks. So let's go, man. What's the difference? Just make it work.
Listen, you're right. No arguments on this guy right here.
You know?
Well, so, he definitely wasn't white, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, just, you know, just everybody just respect and care for one another and whatever it is. And okay, you make it work, you know, but, you know, women are women and men are men. And yes, they're from Venus. And yes, we are from Mars. And you just got to find one that you click with.
Do we got to do? I get you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
I jumped in a weird moment.
Yeah, Corbin's asking dating advice. Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting it. It was very helpful.
It's helping with pickup lines and what to look for. And...
I'm ready. I started waiting to be for the rest of the year, but now I may have to reconsider with some newfound confidence again.
Oh man, that's funny.
I wish there was somebody I could say, listen to this person about dating, but I don't think there really is like that one all that did that. I mean, Pryor didn't do it, Carlin didn't do it, Kinnison didn't do it, Red Fox didn't do it, Eddie didn't do it. You know, none of them did that dating thing. You know, it just kind of comes naturally to whatever your style is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Moving on. What's next? Here we go.
So how did your career transition into the adult industry?
By accident, I was at the Comedy Store one night and met one of the guys from the business. He was a fan. He said, "Hey, do you want to meet some of the girls?" I'm 19 years old.
Hell yeah.
I'm a heterosexual male. Hello, how you doing? So, okay. And the next thing you know, I was meeting people, and then I was going to sets, and then it's like, hey, we need a PA, production assistant, to make the sandwiches and go get coffees. And yeah, okay, fine, whatever, you know. I was meeting people here.
Who was this character happen? Who's this character? Is it somebody we know?
Oh, he's been in the news recently.
Okay.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah, I know who that is. I would love to hear some great comedy store stories. Do you have any great comedy store stories?
Sure. I mean, you know, I was there for almost 2 years, and I was there during kind of that second golden era that they had, because it was Kinnison, Dice, Jim Carrey, Pryor, Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, Arsenio, Yakov Smirnoff, and then, you know, other guys that some guys would know, some Harry Basil, Roger Bear, Finus Henderson, you know, on and on. But I mean, one of the most hilarious stories is, and some people know some parts of the story, but not all of it. Andrew Dice Clay and Sam Kinison had this thing back and forth, and they were not fans of each other. Let's put it that way. The material they did wasn't even close to one another, but Sam thought that Dice had stolen one of his jokes. So we're standing in front of what they call the original room, which is in front of the Comedy Store right on Sunset Boulevard. And Sam is to my left and Dice is to my right. And then all of a sudden, things are flying. Jackets are flying. Chairs are flying. People are getting to the ground. Security is coming over, whatever. And Sam leaves. And everybody's, you know, Dice is cursing him out and whatever. And about 10 minutes later, we get a phone call in the booth from one of the guys at Sam's house. He says, tell Dice to leave. Sam did 4 lines of coke. He's got his 38. It's loaded, and he's coming back to kill Dice. Okay. So he calls me up, tells me what's going on. I run into the back, and I tell Dice, I said, listen, I go, Andrew, you got to get out of here. I used to call him Andrew. Sometimes Andrew, sometimes Andy. And he hated Andy. He goes, only my grandmother calls me Andy. I said, well, I got other friends who are Andrew. Guess what? You're Andy. I don't give a shit. So I said, doesn't matter, but you got to get out of here Sam's coming back. He's loaded his gun. He's going to shoot you. You got to go home. And he was all pissed, but he left. So within a couple minutes, I'm out front, and I can hear Sam's Mustang coming down Sunset Boulevard. He pulls up in front, right on the sidewalk. Doesn't pull in the lot. He's on the sidewalk with his Mustang, and he's got the 38 like this. And he's ready to go. And he walks into the little area where we are, and there's a walkway on the side. And we're telling him, relax, calm down. Dice is gone. Relax. He'd go home. Dice is gone. He went home. And he's like, oh, this. And he's cursing. This is BS, blah, blah, blah. And he starts to go down the walkway. And people are still trying to tell him, no, he's gone. He's left, whatever. And all of a sudden, the gun goes off. The bullet ricocheted off the top and into the back. There was of the Comedy Store sign. There was a bullet hole at the top of that Comedy Store sign for 15 years, I think, till they fixed it.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I did hear that there was a bullet hole in that Hollywood sign because of Sam Kinison. That is hilarious.
I was there,
Wow. I've heard stories. Did you know Sam very well?
Mm-hmm.
I heard a story from Carla and Bill Howie. Have you ever heard of them? Carla and Bill Howie. They were like acting school people. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I heard a story about that he, right before he died, he had kind of figured everything out. He was sober, and he had just got married that night or something.
A week before.
Yeah, and he was just figuring everything out right before he died.
Sober, maybe a couple days. I don't know. But he was on his way to Arizona to do a show. Yep. And a drunk driver hit him.
Yeah.
And
terrible.
But Sam was an interesting duck, man. When he was loaded, you knew he was loaded, and he was totally nuts. And then you knew when he wasn't loaded because he was just a different person. You'd sit in your BS with him and chit chat and whatever, And I mean, I moved back after I left the Comedy Store. I ended up moving back to New Jersey, and he had my phone number, and he called me up, and he was playing Atlantic City, and brought me down there for a couple of days to hang out and whatever. And he was, 50-50, but he knew I didn't do that stuff. So that just wasn't something. He sat in front of me and did lines of coke that never happened because he knew that wasn't my bag, and we would just have decent conversation. Yeah.
It sounds like you've have been friends and met at least in part, for lack of a better term, some of these kind of wilder figures, these wild kind of male figures. Do you think the ingredient that makes them like Pryor when he was going through his stuff, or Savage or Kinison, if you remove that, whatever that is inside him, that wildness, do you still get the same product, you think, in their work? Or do you think in some ways that's essential to what their work is and who they are?
Probably,
do we need guys like that?
Yeah, I mean, probably a certain amount of it. It's the product of what they're doing. I mean, Robin Williams was Robin Williams. He went through his times when he was not on the wagon, and he was off the wagon, on the wagon, off the wagon. And you can kind of see it in his performances, but he's still Robin. Right. Sam never went on stage, half loaded, maybe half loaded a couple times, but otherwise, he just went and that was his thing. That's what he did. Andrew Dice Clay, completely different. Dice was Dice. He didn't need anything. He just rolled out of bed, and that was who he was.
I wonder if in this kind of cancel culture society, if those men even have a place in the industry anymore, men like that. And I wonder, because of
they would, because of their history. There's a guy that now he's passed, he's gone, named Don Rickles.
Yep.
Okay. He made a living and a 50-year career out of insulting people and making racist jokes. But that's what he did. Everybody knew this. So it wasn't like somebody is going to walk up to Don Rickles and tell him he's racist, because Sammy Davis Jr. would walk next to him and go, "Are you out of your mind?" So the people that knew him and loved him, they knew who he was, and the fans knew who he was. He made a career out of that. Pryor, Carlin, Lenny Bruce, George, Kinnison, any of them, if they were still here, they would be able to keep that ball rolling because of who they are and the history that they have. You know, I do a lot of things that are non-PC, okay? And people tell me stuff, and I say, listen, my mentor was Richard Pryor. If that doesn't tell you enough about me, then you're blind, deaf, dumb, and stupid.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't know that the young man, that last one that joined us, what's your name?
Brian.
Brian, okay. So here's one of those nights at the Comedy Store, and I tell it for a particular reason, because he kind of mentioned that form of entertainment. So I'm working the main room, and Richard was coming in. So I'm in the main room seating people. Okay, fine. A waitress comes over. Richard's in the back. So I go in the back, and they have a little green room area. You know what they call a green room, just waiting around backstage. And it's Sam, Robin Williams, Richard Pryor, his wife, Jennifer, and me. Just the five of us. We talked for a few minutes, whatever. Okay, it's time for Richard to go on stage. Now, if you kind of picture this in your head, if you walked out that door, you went all the way to the end of this hallway, you made a left, that took you to the audience. But if you walked out the door and you made an immediate left, that took you to the back of the main room stage where the curtains are. So I opened up the door because I'm a doorman. That's my job. Okay, fine. And Robin goes out and makes a left. And Sam goes out and makes a left. And Jennifer went out and went all the way to the end of the hallway. I'm holding the door. And Richard says, okay, so what are you doing? I said, dude, I'm working. You know, I'm on the clock. He goes, nah, not right now. Come on. So he grabs me, drags me through the back of the curtain. So there's two little steps on the main room stage. Richard and I sit at the back of the stage, and there's Robin and Sam for 25 minutes. And they're just anything you could ever possibly imagine hearing, you heard. Non-PC, didn't matter. Every racist joke you could possibly make, just going insanity. Sex jokes, whatever. So Sam turns around and hands the mic to Richard. So he sits next to me, and now it's Robin and Richard. And they do 25, 30 minutes, and they're killing it. I mean, my stomach was hurting. I was laughing so hard. So wow. Robin gets done. He turns around and he goes to hand me the mic. And I'm not kidding. I looked at him and I said, and what would you like me to do? And he looks at me and he goes, that's your boy. Go get him. Go get him. Whatever you want. Okay. So Robin sits down and I walked up and Richard was looking at the audience. He turns and he sees me standing there and he goes, oh, you want some of this now. And he starts making every pre-puberty dick joke you can imagine. I mean, it's it's not PC. It's not, I mean, it was crazy. And I just let him go for a couple minutes. And then finally he kind of got out of breath. He just kind of looked at me and he goes, you got nothing to say? My head said, go get him. Well, now I let him have it. And I'm making every interracial joke I can think of with him and a chick and this and on the set and being at his house so many times. And they're cracking up and they loved it. It's the only time I ever got a chance to do material like that. You know, then he was finally like, all right, we're done. That's enough already. And then we all four took a bow and the whole thing got off the stage, you know. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's one of those stories that, you know, I can tell it. People go, oh, this and that. But there's actually the guy that was working there in the spotlight. He's still around. He lives in New Jersey. I said, thank God you're still alive. You can actually back up my story that it really did happen. You know,
I could talk for a while about some of the stuff that your life and your career, because a couple of other things that just blow me away. Trading cards, your story with trading cards. I'm a big fan of sports cards. Of course, we talk about comic books a lot on this show, but I collect sports cards to this day. As a matter of fact, you know, I'm sitting here with unopened packs of them just sitting here. So can you talk about your story into trading cards and sports cards?
I collected cards. I started in 1975. 75 Topps was my first set. Whoa. And just kind of went all the way. And I went to national sports card conventions. Yeah, it was just a great looking set. When I was doing the toy, I met a guy who owned a baseball card store, and I was buying one 9-sheet of every rookie card. So it was the 84 Donruss Mattingly, you know, and the 84 Donruss Strawberry and the 82 Ripkins and, you know, Gretzky rookies, all that stuff. And meeting people in the industry throughout the years, I came up with an idea. And I actually went to Upper Deck first, and they kind of went, nah. And then I ended up, the guys from Donruss called me up and said, hey, you got to pitch this. Pitch this to the owner, the head of sales, the CEO, all this stuff. I like the idea, the head of sales liked the idea. Let's see if we can make something happen. And I came up with the basis for Donruss Americana, which was all celebrity driven, because I knew how many celebrities.
Yep.
And I said, how bad is this to call up a friend or somebody you know and go, hey, you want to make a couple of grand? I'm coming over to sign autographs. Come on, here we go. So it was, kind of an easy sale. I said, how many, and this is no dig on any athlete, but how many Dan Marinos do you need? How many Emmett Smiths or George Bretts or Robin Yountz or any of these guys? Do entertainment. It's never been done before. And they were like, okay, and
change the industry.
And the inscription cards, that's my baby. Because I did a signing with Burt Reynolds and we had these thing called director's cuts. So the little brown stickers were a little bit bigger than just the regular ones that they have now that you see that the clear ones. So they were a little bit bigger. And I went, even before I got there, I knew what I was going to do already. So I got Burt Reynolds to sign Burt Reynolds, Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds, Deliverance, Adam West, Batman, So Carrie Fisher, I wanted her to write Princess Leia. She hated writing Princess Leia. She hated it, but she write P.L. Organa on. I think I had her do. I think she did 10 total that said Mrs. Han Solo.
Wow.
Carrie Fisher, Star Wars.
For those of you guys that don't know what he's talking about, a perfect example way to explain it is people will go ask Pete Rose to sign baseballs now. And, they'll ask him to write crazy things on there, like I cheated on baseball. Or
Sorry, I bet on baseball, 4256 or Hall of Fame or whatever it is, stuff like that. So I turned that into the entertainment version of it, getting actors and actresses to write, their movies or show. Ron Howard did Happy Days, Opie, the Andy Griffith Show.
And now every card company does this with sports players. They'll take 20 of each card, so they'll have 100 autographs and they'll take 20 of those autographs and make the player write something goofy on it. And those cards with that little goofy writing on it, or their, some little saying that they're famous for, sells for a ton of money more than their regular autograph. And it's in every set nowadays. And he started it. Scotty started it. So that's cool.
Benchwarmer Trading Card Company with the girls. Okay. I knew the owner. I knew him since before he owned the company when he was doing Beanie Babies. Yep. Okay. Forever and a day ago. And his company was kind of up and down. Sometimes he had a good release, a bad release, whatever it was. And I said to him, listen, you do the same thing on every freaking card. Girls sign in black. Okay, fine. I said, that's great. I said, have them sign the base in black, have the blue out of 250, have the red out of, the green out of whatever, and change the ink tone, change the ink color, and do the little numbered thing in the color of the ink. So if it's a green ink, it's numbered out of 5, numbered a card out of 5, it's green ink. He's done extremely well. And this has been, I don't know, since 07, 08, I think he started doing it. Yeah. When I told him, the one of ones and the, get him to do this inscription or get him to come up with that,
Do you still collect nowadays at all?
A little, not nearly as much as I used to. The funds aren't there the same way, jobs aren't there the same way. So you can only spend so much on expendable income, on having fun.
What is your grail card? Your holy grail of a card? You might own it, you might not own it. You're the greatest card that you can think of that you would love to own.
Well, wait.
Not money wise. I'm talking about, like, for me, the card that I want more than anything right now, and it's worth a lot of money, but I don't want it because it's worth a lot of money. I want an O-Pee-Chee Gretzky rookie with the famous O-Pee-Chee frayed edges, because that's like growing up. I remember seeing the O-Pee-Chee Gretzky rookie next to the Topps rookie and go, man, why would anybody want an O-Pee-Chee rookie? But I want that frayed edge O-Pee-Chee rookie.
I wish I knew we were going to talk about cards. I'd have brought the couple of cards that I have sitting in my desk. They're in my office. I'm not going to go run and get them. But
of course, yeah.
I think there's been 2. There may only be 1 then I have it. I think there's only ever been 2 done that were George Steinbrenner signed cut cards. owner of the Yankees. It's not a $10,000 card. You know, it's probably $1,500, $2,000, whatever it is. But, you know, that I have in my collection, you know, and unless things get better, I may have to sell it at some point. But,
That's awesome.
Famous Fabrics did a line called Sports Kings.
Yep.
And they had the giant one-of-one pieces, you know, and I have like the giant one-of-one Roddy Piper memorabilia piece, and I got him to sign it for me.
Oh, that's great.
You know, I have the Barry Bonds part of the cap with the SF.
Yeah.
So the logo stuck out of the card because it was the cap piece. I have that, and I had Barry sign it for me.
Wow.
You know, so those are a couple things that I have. But I mean, you know, I have a Burt Reynolds, Smokey and the Bandit. You know, that was my guy. That was one of my favorite movies. You know, so it was like, and I got to work with Gleason, who was Buford T. Justice, and I got to hang out with the Bandits. So it was great.
That's awesome. That's freaking cool.
But doing that line, I mean, it was really fun because, you know, it was fun because I knew people who repped other celebrities. So I would just call up my friend and say, hey, you rep this celebrity, this person, I want to do a signing with them. This is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. You send them an email and they go, sure, okay, come on over. You know, Ed O'Neill from Married with Children, I've known him 30 plus years. You know, I've known him since I moved out to LA, you know, and I didn't have his number. And I talked to David Faustino, who played Bud Bundy. And I said, can you do me a favor and call Ed? I want to go over and do this with Ed. So he called up Ed, and I hadn't seen Ed in a long time. And I'm listening to David on the phone. He goes, Scotty, Scotty. He goes, trust me. As soon as you open the door, you're going to know who he is. Just take my word for it, whatever. Ed says, fine, come on over. So I went to Ed's house, and he opens up the door, and he goes, now I know who you are. Oh, my God, how the hell have you been? And he gave me a hug and whatever. He goes, this is great.
That's awesome. That is so cool, man. I can't believe that.
Most of this, actually, really, all of the stuff, even if you go on like eBay and you see Ed O'Neill signed Al Bundy jerseys and the helmets and all that, that's all I've witnessed every single one of them because he's pretty much exclusive with me. You know,
that's cool.
Somebody calls up his agent. They want to do an autograph signing. They call Ed and Ed goes, yeah, call Scotty.
That's so cool.
You know.
Oh man, that's awesome. I love finding out these little things like this that people might not know about, you know, interesting stuff.
But the Upper Deck, they put it in, I think it was called, oh God, it was the Spectrum of Stars insert set in 2007. Way before that, dude. 2007 Spectrum Baseball.
Oh, okay.
They put in a subset, Spectrum of Stars. And I had told them the idea already. They didn't take me on as the person to do it. They hired somebody else. 6 months later, the guy had gotten them no autographs, 0. They had 31 days to what they call pack out, which is actually putting the cards from, you know, the sheets into the packs. They didn't have one celebrity. They had printed up the wrappers that said one celebrity ought to go in a box. They had printed up the boxes that says one celebrity, and they had nothing. So they called me up, and I go down there, and they tell me what happened, and I'm like, so you guys tried to do this without me. Why would you do that? This is stupid. You told me this 6 months ago. I could have done incredible things for you. But now I had so many days. Okay, fine. So they gave me everything. I've got stickers, markers, contracts. I got money. Okay, here we go. And, I mean, I did Tiffany and Debbie Gibson and Anthony Michael Hall. Linda Blair, and it was great because I mean they're signing those little stickers, and I still got him to, you know, Anthony Michael Hall, 16 candles. You know,
wow.
Tiffany, I think we're alone now.
Oh.
And I got him to do it in black, blue, red.
Yeah, that's genius, man. It's genius because, like, you guys don't understand. That is the norm in cards right now. That's what everybody's searching for. These, you know, variants basically on the originals. So it's very cool. It's amazing to see what's going on in the card world right now. The card world has really blown up.
It's beyond wacky do. I mean, I sit almost every night and I go, are you kidding me? Because it's like, you know, Jordan 9s or LeBron, and I'm like thinking
1.4 million for a LeBron rookie the other day.
I know.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
You know, we were in Hawaii at one of the trade summits, and it wasn't autographed because that's not the way that they came, but they had 10 LeBron patch cards with the special logo and all this crap. And I'm going, I know what I sold that card for, and I probably could have gotten 20 times that amount now.
Yep.
You know, but I mean, I opened packs of 03, 04 Ultimate and Exquisite.
Oh,
you know, I mean, I opened the packs. They were insane. They were like 600 a pack when they came out or whatever, you know.
Yeah, just think what they're going for now.
Well,
what
I
boxes?
I think it's 12,000 to 14,000 a box.
It's ridiculous. It's something
You know?
like that. Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. I mean, look at what boxes of old wax are going for. You look at the 86, 87 Fleer basketball. It's going for like 80,000, 100,000 a box, if not more. And they printed that thing like crazy. I remember getting it from my ice cream man.
There's a guy who became a rep. He repped Muhammad Ali, Sandy Koufax. His name is Harlan Warner. Okay. Before any of that, he had a baseball card store in LA in Woodland Hills called America's Favorite Card Store. This is June of 87. And I go in and I had my check written out for $1,000, and I was buying 2 cases of 87 Fleer baseball. Okay. So I go in and he says to me, Scotty, listen, I got a deal for you. I said, I came up to pick up my 2 cases of baseball. He says, no, I know that. He says, come in my office. So he takes me in the office. Behind the door is 4 cases of 86, 87 Fleer basketball. He says, listen, they're moving a little bit, but not enough. I just really want to get rid of them at cost. You know, you can take the case. There's 12 boxes in a case, $120 a case. So you could take these 4 cases for $480, have your 1 baseball case, you know. And I said, you know, I just don't do a lot of basketball. Oh my God.
There's 12 boxes in a case, 4 cases. 1 box goes for 100,000 now.
Oh yeah, no, that's $5 million sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be retired. I'd be on some, you know, somewhere where nobody can find me except on Zoom or Facebook. You know, I'd be calling people, going, "Yeah, bring me my milk, okay?" You know, I don't have that.
I want to change the subject. Do you guys mind if I ask one more question? Because there's something I definitely want to talk about, and that's your relationship with Corey Hayne. You had a good relationship with Corey Hayne, and
my little brother.
And there's a lot of stuff being talked about in the news these days, the last couple months, especially the last year. All this news that you know about the stuff that's going on in Hollywood, and you were talking about that stuff basically before a lot of people. Corey Hayne was, at least. What are your thoughts are going on with the other Corey right now?
Let's see. Dr. Joyce Brothers, Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, and Albert Schweitzer. It would take enough therapy to fix that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
it's disgusting.
This is over 30 years of drug use. The memory's not what it was. Doesn't remember exact things. Doesn't remember what happened. Makes up stuff. Accuses people that by far didn't do the things that he's saying that they did. It's for his own personal reasons, agenda, whatever you want to call it. Corey Hayne was a great dude. He was one of those guys that you would want to be friends with because he was just a good-hearted man, you know. And I knew him since he was, you know, almost 15, somewhere around there, you know. You know, Mr. Feldman has said what he has said, you know, and half truth, half not truth, you know. There are things that have been said against Charlie Sheen, and that's just not true. You know, I had this conversation with Corey Hayne. I know who did what, when it happened, how it happened. Nothing to do with Charlie Sheen. And he would have no reason to lie to me because not only were we friends, but when something happened, inevitably, he'd call me. It would either be me having to go take care of something, or he would end up in my apartment, you know, for a week, and I would take care of him, you know, cook for him, do laundry, whatever. So you would have no reason to lie, you know. So there's money. It's a money factory right now with Feldman. And this has been going on for years now. First it was the book, and there was a bunch of nonsense in there. And then it's the movie on Lifetime, and there was more nonsense in there. And then it's the documentary now which is loaded with it. You know, I know Corey Haim's mother. I know Corey Haim's father. I know what kind of people they are. You know, they weren't together. They were getting divorced and all those kinds of things back then. But I knew both of them. I know the family. These are good people. They're not going to let anything happen to their kid. They're not just not going to show up and let him fend for himself at 14 and 13. It's ridiculous, you know.
Yeah, one of the things that really kind of blew it out of left field for me is the talk about Corey Haim's mom and what she has to say about the movie, and Feldman just brushes it off. And here's his mom saying, "Listen, if you're gonna name names and do all this stuff, great. But the second you put money behind it and put a movie out and you're trying to make money off of it, all your credibility goes out the window." And that's from Corey Haim's mom.
But Feldman's been doing this for 10 years.
It's disgusting.
Okay. Now, if you want to know, I will tell you it's not in his book because there's no way he would ever say it. It's not in the movie. You can forget it. Okay. I'm sure you all have a best friend, somebody, okay, that you've known for years, whatever. When this person passes away, God forbid, you know, whenever that day comes, you're going to be devastated. You're going to be crying. You're going to be upset. Everything comes back when this happens. It happened because I was friends with Hayne, okay? So the day that it happened, it was early, very early on a Thursday morning. You know, I got up in the morning. I heard what happened. I went over to their apartment. Corey Haim's mom is there. Okay. I left after an hour and a half, whatever. Feldman had shown up after I left, and I told him I would be back the next day, which was a Friday. I got back the next day, and Corey Haim's dad had already been there. He got in the previous night, and I got there about 12:30, somewhere around there. Well, I walked in, and I had missed the fun. Corey Feldman, whose best friend just passed away 34 hours before this, actually went to Corey Haim's family and offered them money to shoot the funeral so they could put it into season 2 of Corey and Corey, get another year of airtime, and get better residuals out of DVDs. This is his best friend, but he's trying to make money off of this. The kid is still sitting in the coroner's office. Well, they threw him out. I mean, they got pissed and they threw him out. So when I walked in, I was there about an hour after him, and Corey Haim's father took me outside. They had a little patio outside their apartment, you know, outside Corey and Judy's apartment. And he tells me what went down. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. There's just no way you can comprehend this. Okay. So, of course, you don't throw me out. I didn't do what he did, whatever. And about an hour later, his mom went into the bedroom, starts taking his clothes, throwing it into bags and whatever. I said, what are you doing? This is going to get donated to the homeless, and this is going to go to the Goodwill. I said, listen, you don't have money for the burial. They didn't have money for his funeral. I said, it sounds horrible, but it's not what I'm going to say. I said, I sell things on eBay. This is from his personal collection. He has fans out there. They're going to want this stuff. You need money for the funeral. Let me take the stuff. I'll sell it. You can have it. I don't want 10 cents. I'm trying to help you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Maria Menounos from Access Hollywood showed up. She saw what I was doing. She asked, we talked. She says, can I do a little interview with you? We'll put it on the air tonight so people will see your items are on eBay and they're real and whatever. I said, sure. We sold about $12,000-$13,000 worth of stuff over the next week.
Wow.
eBay took their fees because that's what they do. Okay, fine. And everything else went to the family. I didn't make 10 cents. You don't want to believe me? That's okay. You can Google it. You can actually go on Google, put in my name and Corey Haim, and it'll come up because that's what I did and that's what happened.
Yes, sir.
There's you have love for people. You have understanding and compassion for people. Corey Feldman has no compassion for anyone but himself. He has no care for anyone but himself. It's motivated by what's best for him, what's going to do something for him or put money in his pocket. That's all he's interested in. You know, the movie was going to be one time And that was enough. And Judy Hayne was upset about it, Corey's mom, and we talked, and she's like a second mom to me because we talk every couple of days. You know,
Yeah, I
I
bet.
more or less took kind of Corey's part, I guess, as the son. You know, I'm a little bit older, but not that much, you know. But I love this woman to death. She's a good mom, but she's a grieving mother for now a decade. And this other kid is still going. You don't stop.
And he keeps up bringing it up and just making it worse.
Well, he's making money off of his dead friend.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he's doing, you know. And he said, you know, oh, we spent 600,000 or it was 1.7 million on the documentary. Listen, I don't care if they had filet mignon and lobster tail every night when they were doing this thing for over the course of the 2 years. You can't spend that much money on this thing. Mm-hmm. It's a camera. There's a director. He's shooting the camera. It's video. It's cheap. It's nothing. They shot it mostly at his house.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a $1.7 million documentary. That's for sure.
No, listen. Hollywood is creative, and even as much of an a-hole as he may be, he wrote the song for the movie. He's got to get paid for that. So whatever he told his investors that he spent, I bet you 2/3 of it was spent somehow on him. It's the soundtrack, it's the editing, it's the associate producing. I feel sorry for those people because they're never going to see their money back. It's gone. So first it was going to be on one time, and then they had a problem with that. Then he was going to have it for 2 other days. Then it was going to be a month. And now because people are still saying, hey, we don't like what you did here, he's going, well, I'm just going to keep it up online forever, and people can keep paying the $20 and $30 and come and see it. And it's just that he can make more money.
Yeah, because he didn't make any money, the money he thought it was. I remember hearing about it at first where they were talking about he was selling tickets to each showing, and it sold like a couple hundred tickets, and because people think it's disgusting, it's gross.
Well, it is. Listen, so I'm there with Corey Hayne's father, and this is Friday, and I said, when and where is the funeral? He said the funeral is on Tuesday in Toronto. So I said, okay, I'll take the red eye Sunday night. I'll spend Monday some time with you guys, and then Tuesday, whatever. And then Tuesday night, I'll go back to LA. He says, no, don't do that. He said, you're going to do all of that and spend thousands of dollars. Because back then, you know, it wasn't like it is now, you know, as far as cheaper ticket wise, I'd have had to pay a bloody fortune. It could have been three grand, let's say, between airfare and hotel.
Yeah.
And he said to me, listen, I know you love my son. Judy knows you love her son. Corey knows you love him. There's no reason to do all of that and look at a box. There's no reason. Make a plan and come later. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. Okay. This is Friday. Monday night, Corey Feldman went on Larry King. And they asked him, Larry King asked him, are you going to the funeral? Mm-hmm. Now, if he was any kind of a human being, he would have said, you know what, Larry? I just went through my divorce a couple months ago, and I just don't have the money to make it. You know, but I hope everything works out okay, and I will go and see him at another time. That's what he should have said.
Textbook game.
That's the truth. Instead, he came up with, oh, no. You see, the family asked me not to come to the funeral because it would have been a media spectacle. As if he's Michael Jackson.
He thought he was Michael Jackson.
He thought he was Michael Jackson. Wow. That's the point. He thinks if he shows up, oh my God, there's 200 members of the press and thousands of people are going to show up.
You run the whole thing on his account.
So this is what he came up with, and it was total nonsense. You know, so you know that whole time and that whole period, he was playing the money game. Oh, I got to do this, and I got to call TMZ. Oh, hey, I'm going to Sunset Tattoo Parlor. Come over and see me get a tattoo of Corey Hayne. Who does that? This is supposed to be your best friend. You're supposed to be almost in mourning to some degree if that's really and truly your best friend. You know, I mean, I did what I had to do because I had to help the family. That doesn't mean I wasn't standing over my computer as I'm typing, that I wasn't crying. You know?
Yep.
I mean, today is July 24th of 2020. It's been 10 years, 4 months, and 14 days since he's gone, since Corey Hayne has passed away, and I have yet to watch 1 minute of anything he was in. I can't do it. I know my emotions are just going to fly out of me, you know? And I have a certain way that I deal with people who've passed, because a lot of people I worked with are gone, you know? My thing, especially being in the movies and stuff, is I say they're on location. They're on location somewhere. I don't know when they're going to be back. I don't know when I'm going to talk to them again, but they're on location. No internet service. Someday they'll come back from location. I'll get to talk to them. We know that that's not reality, but that's the way that I deal with it. Yeah. But it doesn't mean I don't care. That doesn't mean I don't cry, March 10th. That doesn't mean I don't cry on his birthday. Sometimes his mom and I have some great conversations, and I'll lose it because it's where my heart is. There's no money motivation there whatsoever. I've done many interviews on this topic, podcasts, whatever. I've done, there was one guy that did a 4-part series on this for on one of the websites. I haven't been paid a dime. I don't want any money for any of this. I want Corey Feldman to shut the hell up already.
Amen.
Somebody wants to pay me to do this, I'll tell them send the money to Judy Hayne. I don't need it. Send it to Judy Hayne. She could use it. She lives up in Canada. She's on a fixed income. She's retired. The country, they have their senior citizen thing that they do and whatever, and the old Jewish people have a thing that they do. That's how she lives. It's not bad, but this
more than anything, she wants her son to be remembered, not remembered like this, not have Corey Feldman keep bringing up his name over and over and over to make money off of it.
You are exactly correct.
It's like fetishizing the scandal of it as opposed to his work and his life and things like that. Yeah.
Listen, Corey Hayne was a hell of an actor. He really was. They've talked for years about getting him a star on the Canadian Walk of Fame and all that, and he probably should have it. He did 40-something movies or whatever over the course of, how many years? God, I think he's 83 or 84 is his first movie in 2010. It was 16 years, something like that. It's a good stretch, and he did a good body of work. That's what he should be remembered for, not this baloney, which is, again, Feldman doesn't care what he's remembered for. He could care less.
No,
because that does nothing for. He needs money. He needs money. This is a money grab. And I'm just thinking, well, what's he going to do now? I mean, if you're going to name names and you're going to say I have this pedophilia ring and this is what I've got to name the name. We'll name the names. Just call a press conference. Trust me, they'll show up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But he doesn't do that. It's like he holds it ransom. It's a great word. He holds it ransom. So you'll pay him to find out. And what do you find out? Nothing. He said the same thing in the documentary. He said in the book, and he said everywhere else. He's nothing new.
Yeah. Right. It's like one of those old Coney Island freak show things. Like, come see a man eating chicken.
He's a barker.
And
he's a
barker.
You
give me, he's a barker.
He's a barker. That's exactly what it is. He's a circus barker. But he's ransoming information that it's not even there, or he doesn't even say it. We don't know why. Other than he has nothing else. I mean, let's face it. If one of his albums ever goes to #1, the world is really collapsed.
Yeah, my brother one time showed me a video. I think it was some type of video where he has a band of chicks behind him or some type of show. His angels. It fucking was so cringe for me to watch. I was so embarrassed for those chicks.
Well, he did the Today Show, and it was so bad that they said, okay, this was bad, the sound or whatever it was. So we'll let you do it again. But they didn't actually have it on the Today Show. They had it on the After Hours internet feed. So it wasn't actually on the live show. It was on the after show,
Oh man.
And he thinks he can sing.
It's
And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If Corey Feldman watches this, you name the time, you name the place, you pick any 3 songs that you want, and I will show up. And we'll let the people decide. And if there's money involved, I don't want it. If I win, give it to Judy Hayne. That's my opinion.
There we go.
And that's just me. I'm not a professional singer. I can carry a tune, but by gum, I know 3 songs that I can knock out of the park. and just watch him kill himself.
Yeah, because that's what he'll do. Freak out.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's sad. His father, who I know, did not steal his money, any of that bullshit. His father's a hell of a singer. Like there was a club in LA called Club Hollywood, right on Hollywood Boulevard. It's where the Jimmy Kimmel Show is now. Okay, same building, and they were having like a talent night, whatever. And Bob had met the owner of the club, and I knew the guy and whatever. And Bob said, "Hey, I can bring a couple guys, and we can do a couple of numbers." Sure, okay. And I had never heard Bob sing before. He opened up his mouth, and I was like, "This guy can sing. This is great." You know, he did Toto, he did Kansas. I'm like, this is great stuff. You know, the song Toe the Line. Anybody know the song Toe the Line? You'd know it if you heard it. Toto's song.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's great. You know, and he did other songs. Okay, great. Well, then Corey sang.
And then Corey sang.
Oh, God. The owner of the club was like literally scratching the walls. I mean, he was just like, holy shit, what did I do? You know.
That's
Lord.
great. That's great. Well, shout out to Judy Hayne. Much positive thoughts out to her. Hopefully, she can get some type of closure and you know, change something.
Well, Feldman is starting to bury himself because people are starting to talk. The girls are starting to come forward and say what's been going on, what's been happening, what did happen. You know, drugs and other things that went down, and non-payment and all kinds of crazy shenanigans. Stuff you just don't do. So, you know, he's going to bury himself. He's buried himself at this point, you know.
Well, on to a better topic, I guess, back to the comedy stuff. Do you follow any young comedians in the business?
No, unfortunately.
No? Do you have plans of maybe going and doing more comedy stuff?
Someday.
Wow. I got to be honest. I think that you had an amazing stories to tell, and I'm glad that you came on the show, man. I'm really glad.
This was fun. You know, I just, you know, life is like a box of chocolates. There is no question, you know, and I've been very fortunate to have met a lot of people and done a lot of great things. And, you know, truly my life has been blessed, and I understand it. And I knock on wood and say thank you. You know, not everybody is me. Not everybody's had a lot of great experiences. Maybe they had one and they had 7 bad ones, you know. In all of my time in Hollywood, I never had a bad experience, you know, a real bad experience. I had semi-bad experience about a year ago, but I took care of that, and that was the end of it. I can handle my own stuff now. But growing up as a kid, you know, I just had a lot of fun. You know, I really did. And I had a lot of good people that I worked with, supportive people, good people, thoughtful people. I mean, even Gleason, who didn't want to work with kids and animals, he thought I was funny because I did Buford T. Justice, and he loved it. He thought it was a riot, and I did the Honeymooners for him, and we would just shtick and go back and forth and have fun. So, you know, my experiences, most all have been pretty damn good in this wacky life that we live in.
Yeah. It's crazy right now, that's for sure, but can't be too crazy because we got you on the show, and we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any, before we let you go, do you have anything you're working on that you want to plug to our audience and people should be looking on the lookout for?
At this moment, you know, when I come on later when something is done or finished or whatever, you know, I've got a book was supposed to be out this year, but due to COVID and whatever, it's going to get pushed back to 2021, and, you know, a couple of other small little projects that I'm working on, and we'll have to see, you know, what happens with those things.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back, man. Definitely when the book comes, or anytime you want to come back on, we would be honored.
Yes,
No, I can give some more tips to Damon.
I will take them.
I get the update on if the tips worked or not, you know.
For sure. The sword.
Remember, Damon.
Mm-hmm.
Jewish waist up, Schwartz waist down. Schwartz waist down.
Schwartz waist down. Will do. Jewish up, Schwartz down. Got it. Thanks a lot, Scott.
Hey, listen, everybody be safe. You go out, wear a mask, do the nonsense and whatever. Just be safe, be healthy. Don't do any stupid crap, you know. I'm just a sensible person, and I just try and tell other people to be sensible, logical, you know, care for everybody, You know, I give everybody respect until they disrespect me, and then the game is over. So, you know, and I hope everybody's the same way. You know, be loving, be caring, be kind. You know, and you know, we got to get through this craziness we're in right now. So, the better person that you are is better for the world. You know?
Amen. Amen.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate it. And keep in touch.
Yeah. Call me
Thank you.
anytime. Send me an email. I'll come on. We talk about more about wrestling or movies
Absolutely.
or TV or whatever the hell
I'm
you
down
want.
for
I don't
that
care.
anytime.
We are down.
Yes, sir. I got you covered for sure. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Cream of the crop, it rises to the top,
Oh,
right?
man.
And then of course these, you know, you think you know the answers. I change the questions.
Yep.
You know,
Yes, sir.
I got to play
Have a
Roddy's.
coffee in the big
I got to play Roddy's kid one night in a Piper's Pit.
Oh,
So
Ooh, in the, yeah.
I'm telling you, we can just go on stories and have a blast. I'll tell you all about stuff next time.
Sounds good.
All right.
For sure.
We look forward to it. We have to get that on the books.
Yes,
You
sir.
got it. Be well,
Thank
guys. Take
You
care.
too. Take care,
Take
Scott.
care.
Thanks
Thank
again. Have a
you.
good night.
All right.
Do I just log out?
Yep. Go ahead and log.
Yep.
You guys gonna keep going?
Yep.
You guys still
You
got
gotta
shit to
re-
talk about?
Oh yeah.
comic book time.
Well, wait,
It's the comic
Damon,
shop.
you're in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
I'm in
So
Arizona.
is it 10 there or 11 there?
It is 10:07.
It's Friday, dude.
Yep.
Go find a chick. What are you doing?
We're in lockdown. We got locked back down. Everything's closed.
Yeah.
Arizona's locked back down again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Everywhere?
Yep.
Pretty much bars, gyms, all that.
Flagstaff?
Yep. Everywhere in the state's
Yosemite?
locked back down.
Oh, Yosemite's here.
Yeah. It's a
Oh
wrap
my
all over
God.
for the end of the month at least. Then they'll reevaluate.
I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I'm in
appreciate-
California. This sucks.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
maybe one of you guys are going to go out and try and, you know, do something, but
Nothing right now. Just got the show, and that's my Friday night. It's a good one.
Ugh.
Fun.
Go to YouTube and watch some old match with superstar Billy Graham or some shit. Whatever.
Will do.
All right, peace out, guys.
Take care. Thank
Take
you.
care.
All
Thank
right.
you.